Hello, and welcome to G Fun Facts Online, the show that dives deep into the science behind our amazing world. Today, we're going on an internal journey, exploring an unseen dialogue happening inside you right now. Did you know you have a second brain? Not in your head, but in your gut. This isn't just a metaphor. An ancient intelligence, a bustling metropolis of trillions of microorganisms, resides within you, influencing your thoughts, shaping your moods, and guiding your choices in ways you've probably never imagined. This is the mind-gut connection, a bidirectional superhighway of information that is revolutionizing how we understand health. That feeling of butterflies in your stomach? Or a gut-wrenching response to bad news? That's not just poetry. It's physiology. It's tangible proof of this powerful link. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to unravel the secrets of this internal conversation, exploring how what you eat directly affects how you feel, and how your feelings can, in turn, affect your gut. Get ready to meet your second brain. So what exactly is this second brain? Scientists call it the enteric nervous system, or ENS. It's a massive network of over 100 million nerve cells lining your entire digestive tract, from your esophagus all the way down. That's more neurons than are in your spinal cord. This second brain is in constant communication with the big brain in your skull, and this communication network is called the gut-brain axis. Think of it as a two-way street, with information flowing constantly in both directions. The brain can affect the gut, which is why stress can give you a stomachache. But, and this is the fascinating part, the gut sends far more information to the brain than the other way around. How does this happen? Through several key channels. First, there's the vagus nerve. This is one of the biggest nerves in your body, and it acts as the primary superhighway connecting your gut and brain. About 90% of the signals traveling along this nerve go from the gut to the brain. This means your gut is constantly updating your brain about what's going on, influencing your mood, stress levels, and even memory. Next up, we have neurotransmitters. These are the chemical messengers you've probably heard of, like serotonin and dopamine. We usually associate them with the brain, but here's a mind-blowing fact. Up to 95% of your body's serotonin, the famous feel-good chemical that regulates mood, sleep, and appetite, is produced in your gut. A huge chunk of your dopamine, linked to motivation and reward, is also made there. And who's doing the manufacturing? The trillions of bacteria living in your gut. The health and diversity of your gut bacteria can directly impact the availability of these critical brain chemicals. Then there's your immune system. Your gut is a major headquarters for your body's defense forces. When your gut bacteria are out of balance, a condition called dysbiosis, it can lead to something called a leaky gut. This allows toxins to slip into your bloodstream, triggering inflammation throughout your body, including in your brain. This neuroinflammation has been linked to conditions like depression and cognitive decline. Finally, hormones play a part. Your gut microbiome helps regulate hormones like ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and leptin, the satiety hormone, which tell your brain when to eat and when to stop. At the heart of all this is your gut microbiome. Imagine a vibrant, complex ecosystem living inside your digestive tract, filled with trillions of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes. This community is as unique to you as your fingerprint, and it's absolutely essential for your health. A diverse and balanced microbiome helps you digest food, absorb nutrients, and supports your immune system. But its influence stretches right up to your brain. Studies are increasingly showing that an imbalance in the gut microbiome is linked to a range of mental health conditions, from anxiety and depression to even neurodevelopmental disorders. For example, people with irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, which is defined by gut issues, have a much higher likelihood of experiencing anxiety and depression. It's a vicious cycle. Stress and anxiety can worsen gut symptoms, and the gut inflammation then sends signals back to the brain that trigger negative mood changes. How do these tiny microbes have such a big impact? As we mentioned, they produce those mood-regulating neurotransmitters. But they also produce other beneficial compounds. When you eat fiber, certain gut bacteria ferment it and produce something called short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. These SCFAs are incredible. They have anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects, meaning they help protect your brain and keep it healthy. The key takeaway here is that your microbiome isn't static. It changes based on your diet and lifestyle. And the food you choose to eat is the most powerful tool you have to shape this inner ecosystem for the better. This brings us to the exciting and emerging field of nutritional psychiatry. It's based on a simple but profound idea. What you eat directly affects how you feel. The old saying, "You are what you eat," is no longer just folk wisdom. It's hard science. Let's talk about the culprits first. The modern Western diet, packed with ultra-processed foods, refined sugars, and unhealthy fats, is a disaster for our gut-brain axis. Take sugar, for instance. Excessive sugar consumption leads to a less diverse microbiome and promotes inflammation. In the brain, high sugar intake can interfere with the brain's reward system, leading to cravings and a cycle of overconsumption that looks a lot like addiction. It also reduces levels of a critical protein called BDNF, which is essential for learning, memory, and growing new brain cells. Low levels of BDNF are linked to depression and dementia. Ultra-processed foods are just as bad. They contain a cocktail of additives, unhealthy fats, and refined carbs that disrupt the gut microbiome and have been linked to an increased risk of anxiety, depression, and even diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So what should we be eating? The science points overwhelmingly to a diet rich in whole, plant-based foods. The Mediterranean diet is a fantastic blueprint. It's full of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and healthy fats like olive oil. This high-fiber diet is exactly what your good gut bacteria love to eat. It feeds them, allowing them to produce those amazing anti-inflammatory short-chain fatty acids. Studies show that following a Mediterranean-style diet leads to a healthier gut microbiome and is linked to better memory and cognitive function. To get more specific, think about incorporating probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are the good bacteria themselves, found in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut. Prebiotics are the food for those good bacteria. You can find them in high-fiber foods like onions, garlic, bananas, oats, and legumes. And don't forget key nutrients for brain health: omega-3 fatty acids from fish and flax seeds, B vitamins from leafy greens and eggs, and antioxidants from colorful fruits and vegetables like berries. But knowing what to eat is only half the battle. We also need to understand the psychology behind why we eat. Our food choices are rarely just about nutrition. They are deeply tied to our emotions, our habits, and the world around us. Let's talk about emotional eating. This is when you use food to cope with feelings like stress, boredom, or sadness, rather than to satisfy physical hunger. You get bad news, you reach for the ice cream. It provides temporary relief, but often leads to a cycle of guilt and shame, which can trigger more emotional eating. A key step is to learn the difference between physical and emotional hunger. Physical hunger comes on gradually and can be satisfied by a variety of foods. Emotional hunger hits suddenly, craves specific comfort foods, and leaves you feeling guilty afterward. Instead of turning to food, finding healthier coping mechanisms like going for a walk, listening to music, or talking to a friend can break the cycle. Then there's the controversial concept of food addiction. While it's not an official diagnosis, for many people, the struggle is real. Highly processed foods, engineered with the perfect combination of sugar, fat, and salt, can hijack the brain's reward system, triggering dopamine release in a way that's similar to addictive drugs. This can lead to a loss of control and intense cravings. Finally, we can't ignore the immense pressure of diet culture. This is the pervasive system of beliefs that worships thinness, labels foods as good or bad, and tells us that our worth is tied to our weight. This culture is incredibly harmful. It leads to body dissatisfaction, disordered eating, and mental health struggles. Social media amplifies this with a constant stream of curated, unrealistic images. Resisting diet culture is an act of self-care. It means unfollowing accounts that make you feel bad, focusing on health-promoting behaviors instead of weight loss, and cultivating appreciation for your body for what it can do, not just how it looks. The conversation between your mind and your gut is one of the most important relationships in your life. It's a silent symphony that orchestrates your health and your happiness every single day. Understanding this connection empowers you. It's not about achieving a perfect diet or never eating a piece of cake again. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about becoming the conductor of your own well-being. So what can you do today? Start small. Try to eat a wider variety of plants this week. Maybe add a spoonful of kimchi or yogurt to your meal. Pay attention to how you feel when you eat. Slow down and savor your food. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. By learning to listen to this internal dialogue and making conscious choices to nourish both your body and your mind, you can cultivate a life of greater health, vitality, and joy. The journey to a healthier you begins with a single, mindful bite. Thanks for tuning in to G Fun Facts Online. We'll see you next time.